things that I've learned to take and not take. One of the first things I stopped taking was my heavy tripod. But one of the things that you would definitely want to do if you're traveling with someone else or with more than one camera is you want to synchronize the date and time so they're exactly the same. It's a real pain to try to organize your pictures chronologically when you blend all these pictures in a folder if the dates aren't right. So number one, when you pack, check your camera dates and time and synchronize all your cameras so they're the same date. Even though I'm traveling, I don't change my camera to the local time. I don't care what it is. I just want to know it's the same time that my wife's camera is on. Then here's some suggestions. Make sure you bring your download cable or a memory card reader. Try to bring your video cable, so in case you happen to have an opportunity to watch your pictures from your camera on a TV, you can do so. Good opportunity to read your camera manual when you're sitting on that airplane for 8 hours, or that bus, or that train. Battery charger and spare batteries. Okay, you've spent $10,000, you're hiking up to Machu Picchu, and you got one battery with you. You're not going to find a battery in Machu Picchu, okay? So you need to carry spare batteries that are charged up, and make sure your charger is with you. Plan and bring the required number of memory cards. 3 years ago, memory cards were quite expensive in relation to cameras. Now they're dirt cheap. So just think about how many pictures you're going to take and buy enough memory cards to accommodate the whole bunch. Or at least bring some portable storage device, and I'll talk about that in a minute. For sure, bring your plug adapters for the country you're in, so you can convert the prongs to your 110-volt systems here. Turns out most digital photography equipment works on both 220 and 110, so you don't necessarily need a voltage converter. I learned that the hard way. My first time on traveling with a digital camera, I bought a voltage converter and it sat unopened for the whole trip because all of these portable hard drives and battery chargers work on 220. You just need to get the $4.99 plug adapter, not the $79 converter. When you're entering the airport, try not to put unprocessed film, digital cameras, lenses with electronics, or digital camera memory cards in your checked luggage. I knew one guy that thought he would protect it all with a lead bag. Well, guess what the security people think that lead bag is? Plastic explosive, and they crank their X-rays to penetrate it. And they will fry everything in that lead bag. So don't put that stuff in your checked luggage. Carry it on board with you. With the exception of the magnetic detector walkthrough, make sure you don't have a memory card in your pocket by mistake or a small camera. Sure, the camera will send off the magnetic detector, but that magnetic field could disrupt some of the electronics. Everything goes in the X-ray machine. Caution, be aware of that. Don't let that stuff go in your checked legs.
So sorry, the carry-on X-ray machine is less damaging than the...
The question is the carry-on X-ray machine is less damaging than the baggage, checked bags. Yes, because they can vary the power. What those guys are doing is they're looking at what is in the bag. Oh, I better see what's in that box. And they'll crank the X-ray up. So they have variable controls, whereas the X-ray machine is less power for smaller bags. And also, if you're still a film camera buff, what you should do is buy a very high ISO film and put it in your kit and say, this won't go through the X-ray machine in the check-in. Could you please hand inspect? Now, today, you can maybe get away with that, but a year or two ago, the security wouldn't do that for you. They didn't care. They were more interested in security. Everything goes in. But we're all digital, right? We don't carry film. Camera security, let's talk about that. So what I'm going to do is just show you some other stuff I take with me. The first thing, this is my old camera bag. And this is a low pro, it's the backpack kind of thing. It's been tattered. And we decided to disguise the name because low pro is known as a camera bag. and if the name were covered, and I don't know which of these flags covers it, sort of disguise it as a camera bag. It looks like a backpack. So I tried to get people to realize that this is not a camera bag. And then, of course, that set up a trend, and we were buying flags and sticking it on the camera bag. So try to disguise, you know. It's nice to say I'm a photographer and I got all this cool camera gear, but don't broadcast the fact that you're carrying a bag that holds maybe $5,000 worth of stuff in it. So disguise it if you can. This is quite a vanilla looking bag. There's no big signs, and it looks like a big lunch and a bottle of beer, right? But it's now my traveling camera bag. So I use that. One of the things that I invested in quite a while ago, actually, was something called the Pack Safe. It's a stainless steel mesh. And what it does, it opens up. It's got a cable with a lock. So I can stick my entire camera bag, a laptop, anything of valuable, as long as it's bigger than the mesh openings. And I can lock this to a piece of plumbing or a chair, or on a train, I can in a luggage rack, or just to stop the casual thief from just nipping it suddenly. And this has given me lots of comfort, knowing that if I'm in a 3-star hotel, maybe the locks aren't very modern, and maybe they give out too many keys to people, or they're too easy for the maid to decide, yeah, maybe I will take that bag. This stops them. I challenge anyone to get into this bag in less than 30 minutes. You're going to have special wire cutters to get through the steel cable. PackSafe is an Australian company. Go to packsafe.com. They have all kinds of security and safety products for travelers, and this is one of their best ones. Comes in several sizes. I know you can get this at Travel on West Broadway. Yeah, Mountain Equipment Co-op. Travel Bug. I know Travel Bug carry this now. Mountain Equipment Co-op, I'm not sure if they still do it, but you can also buy it online. Keep your eye on your bags. What we are finding is that locals around the world are very honest. It's the travelers that you have to watch for. So just keep your eye on it. One of the things that has happened, and I've experienced this with personally at cafes and restaurants, and I've seen this happen, and several friends have lost their cameras this way by sitting in a restaurant, outdoor cafe, and sitting their camera underneath them, underneath the chair. And they get up to leave, and the camera is gone. Or we saw one woman along a lane in Athens, and her purse was on a table, and someone just walks by and goes, whoop, thank you, away goes the purse. So you need to wrap your neck strap or your wrist strap around something and lock it, do that double lock thing, and that way someone just can't grab it. Whenever I sit down, both my camera bag, and if I happen to have a camera, my neck strap is going to be tied like this so that no one can just walk over. They're going to have to take the table with them if they're going to take my camera. So that's a very common problem in high traffic and big tourist areas where locals out to grab something quickly will get you. Take a bicycle chain and lock. This is very handy for just locking luggage to something. Maybe you have to leave your luggage and your camera bag in a lobby for an hour or two. So just lock it up. Particularly important on trains in Europe, where you can actually lock your luggage to the luggage, but make sure you're ready to leave in a hurry because you have 30 seconds to get off the train, and otherwise it'll keep going. So be ready, but use this kind of stuff. It's camera security. I always travel with my Tilly hat. This one. And the reason I do is because I'm typically in a warm, sunny climate, because I love that. This tan did not come from Vancouver. And what I'm able to do is with this soft hat, I can go like this and not have to worry about taking my hat off. All right? So this soft brim is amazing. It's quite you fall in love with this hat, in fact, and you'll get people traveling the world that have Tilly hats, and they'll come up to you and introduce themselves because they got a Tilly hat, and you want to exchange Tilly hat stories. I think it's been 6 times that I jumped into oceans or rivers or lakes to retrieve my hat. I'm so much in love with this hat that that's what you do. So thank you, Tilly. So that will help keep you covered. Ball caps are the worst thing in the world, and nothing looks so stupid as someone with their ball cap backwards, you know, taking pictures. But sometimes when I wear ball caps, that's what you have to do. Another travel hint from Dave. I've experienced sensor dust. It's the plague of digital cameras and travel. I always thought it was just on SLR cameras because you take your lens off and you're exposing your inside of your camera to the elements and the dust and the sand. And I always thought it was an SLR camera until about 3 years ago someone showed me a point-and-shoot camera with big globs of sensor dust on the pictures. And so this is an example of what sensor dust looks like right here. And so what I do regularly with all my cameras is take a picture of something of plain color, like a gray cloud or a white wall, and they zoom in on my camera LCD, or if I have a computer, I'll enlarge it, and scroll up and down to see if I can find little blobs of dust. And if I do, I got to do something with it. One solution perhaps is never change your lenses on an SLR camera, but that's not going to work for me because I'm not going to carry many cameras around. You can get a camera with auto sensor cleaning, but I challenge it to clean off moist pollen that dries. So yes, it's nice to know you have auto sensor cleaning, but you might want to do this check every so often to be sure. I carry with me something called the Arctic Butterfly, which works quite well. And it's a brush that is battery powered, and it spins. And the spinning creates a static charge on the brush. I turn it off, take my lens off, open up my mirror, and brush the sensor, and the static charge picks up all that dust on the sensor, and it works quite well. So this is always traveling with me. Don't stick this in your camera with the brush on. Point-and-shoot cameras, my goodness. I've had 3 point-and-shoot cameras, not rendered unusable because of dust. Now, we travel in salt water and beach and high humidity and sand and deserts, just like we're the worst people in the world to handle maintenance of cameras. But you need to be careful. Don't be sloppy and put your camera in its case when you put it in your luggage or you're storing it. Don't let it hang loose because all it takes is that little bit of dust